That's Fontella Bass and Rescue Me. You're listening to BBC Radio Devon, the Judy Spice programme. Now, for more than 20 years, Christine Paradine, as she says, lived, breathed and worked for the rescue and care of abandoned and neglected animals. Years later, it was no surprise to find managing a Devon-based animal charity, Animals in Distress. Christine has written a book, Pawprints Through My Life, which tells of her many experiences over the years. Christine is with us now. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning.
Oh, it's full of lovely, heartwarming and tragic tales as well.
Yes.
Your love of animals, I believe, started with dogs, really.
Yes, it did when I was a child. Where we lived in London, it was very difficult to have a dog ourselves. My parents both worked, so it was just out of the question. So I used to take dogs out for neighbours, and I used to, in those days, dogs used to roam the streets of London. It wasn't unusual to see a pack of dogs, and I knew all the local dogs, and I used to take the friendly ones home and ask their owners if I could actually take them out for a walk on their leads, which probably didn't impress the dogs very much. Yeah. And I actually got paid for it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes,
enterprising.
Yes.
But you did have an imaginary horse, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And you took it on holiday?
Glad you brought that up.
Oh, it's just such a lovely story. Go on, tell us about your horse.
Well, yes, imaginary dogs as well. But yes, my horse, Duncan. Don't know where that name came from, but it was Duncan. He was completely in my imagination. He was a big brown horse, and he used to go everywhere with me. And I used to ride him down to the local shops with my galloping along next to my mum. And I used to tie him up outside the shops. Used to look for usually a lamppost where there was a bit of grass, sensibly, of course. Yeah. And as you say, yes, he came on holiday, of course. And I think the incident you were sort of referring to was one day, it is down in Somerset. We had a boat ride round the bay, and of course Duncan couldn't come.
No,
it'd be ridiculous. You couldn't have a horse on a boat.
No.
So I tied him up to railings at the harbour side, and off we went on our family boat trip. While we were out there, the skipper of the boat said, "Did anyone want to be dropped off at the other end of the bay?" So my dad said, yes, that would be ideal. So we got off the boat, and I was just crying my eyes out.
Because Duncan was the other end?
Duncan was tied up at the harbour at the other end. Yeah, I was absolutely devastated.
So what happened?
Well, my dad always said it was my mum that actually walked all the way back. It's probably about a mile walk round the bay to go and untie Duncan.
Sweet.
I'm sure it was my dad, but he denied it.
Wonderful. You did eventually get 2 tortoises, didn't you?
I did, yes. They were my first pets, my own pets, yes. As people who own tortoises will know, the grass is always greener on the other side with a tortoise.
And don't they move?
Yes, and they can climb. People, don't believe it, but they can climb fences. Yeah. Not high fences, obviously, but... and my dad built a little enclosure for my 2 tortoises, Joey and Terry, and a lovely little wooden house with their names painted above the door. It was lovely. Yeah. But they just kept escaping, and eventually they ended up taking over the whole garden. He let them have the whole garden, and but they still escaped. That was the sad end, I'm afraid.
The dog came later, though, when you went to Battersea Dogs Home, and this had quite an effect on you, didn't it, as a youngster? It did.
Mum and Dad said I could have a puppy. I was about 13, 14 then. And I was just over the moon. I was so thrilled. I was just so desperate for my own dog. And yes, Dad and I went along to Battersea, bearing in mind this is back in the early 60s, and it's a completely different place now. Just want to emphasise that. It is a lovely place now. Then it wasn't. It was awful. It was so upsetting. And they didn't have any puppies at the time, but we said we'd go and have a look round, and it was devastating.
They didn't have the money for the upkeep, did they? And so many abandoned
animals. It was just awful. Yeah. And I came away crying my eyes out. It was, quite a traumatic experience.
People often say that you don't choose animals, they choose you. And this happened with your puppy, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes. It happens a lot, actually. Yes, the Katie, our Airedale puppy, we had, this is later on, she was about 5 weeks old, and she sort of staggered across the box full of puppies to us She actually chose us. She was the just best dog ever in the world. She was fabulous.
Not surprising you went into the work you went into. A very rewarding life, but you've seen some very sad cases in your time, and we've heard that from the RSPCA that cruelty is on the up, particularly in this part of the world. But not all cruelty is intentional, is it? I'm thinking of the case of Honey, the collie.
Yes, Honey, she was beautiful. Rough collie, some people know them as lassie dogs. She belonged to an elderly lady, and she was a recluse, and she lived in a bungalow on her own. And when she was taken ill, social services were called in, and when they arrived, it was a bit like I don't know if you saw the programme, Mr. Trebus on the rubbish programme, but the rubbish was up to the ceiling.
Oh, I know that. Yes, I did. I'm with you. Yeah.
And it was dreadful, and the newspaper on the floor was sort of layers and layers thick of wet newspaper where Honey hadn't been allowed outside. Her food was thrown on the floor. Anyway, the lady went into a nursing home, so Honey was brought to the rescue centre in the back of a social worker's car. But when she arrived, she was frozen with fear because she'd never actually been outside the house. She'd never even been in the garden. I think she was about 2 years old then. She'd never seen the light of day. And she just froze, and she had to be carried from the car to her kennel. And even to go out to do her business, she had to be physically lifted up and taken out.
But you did eventually sort of rehabilitate her.
Yes. We rehomed her, but she came back because it was such a difficult time for her. She just couldn't cope with anything, so she came indoors with us, which we tended to do quite a lot with problem dogs. And over months, years really, she gradually came around, always very nervous. And then sadly she started fitting. She had fits, so she had to go on medication. Then we discovered she had poor eyesight. She'd been born with that. So all in all, she really had her problems, but she turned into the most lovely dog, and we actually ended up, we could walk around the village with her, with her other dog.
It's amazing. In cases like that, I mean, they're talking about chipping dogs now. I wouldn't help it in any way, shape or form for an animal like that.
No.
One of the saddest things, I think, and you hear about it quite a bit, is when somebody dies and they've had two dogs, and the dogs have lived together all their lives, and they have to be separated. But dogs do become great friends, don't they? Like Chloe and Jasper, the German Shepherd.
Yes, that was a real love story, that was. Yes, they came in together to be rehomed. They'd obviously been very close because we suddenly, we discovered that Chloe was actually expecting puppies. The night, we separated them when the puppies were due, just for their own safety, really, because we didn't know how Jasper was going to react. And that night, I was awoken by howling. And it was the two of them trying to communicate with each other because they were then in separate kennels. So I had to go out in the middle of the night and bring Jasper up, and he actually spent the rest of the time in the kennel next to Chloe while she had her puppies, and he watched all the comings and goings and watched the puppies until they were ready for rehoming. But that was fine. They were okay. They knew they could see each other. Yeah. And they eventually were rehomed together.
Lovely.
But both neutered.
People often abandon pets, of course, especially when they're pregnant. And you've rescued a lot of puppies over the years. People put boxes out.
Yes. They were tied to the gate. Sometimes animals were tied to the gate overnight. Yes, animals in boxes, as you say. There was a rabbit that was found near a dustbin, and the dust van was actually just down the road, and it was on its way within minutes. That box would have been in the back of the lorry, but luckily somebody actually saw the box moving and rescued him.
I often wonder why do that outside a rescue centre? Why not just come in with the animal and say, we've just found this? I mean, lie if you have to, rather than hide them somewhere and let them die. Yeah. There's a lovely story of Cara the Rottweiler bitch, who even slept with the cat.
Yes, she did.
Because, Rottweilers get a lot of bad press at the moment, and they can be, quite violent dogs. But the idea of sleeping with a cat...
Yes, she did, in the same basket, yes. Yeah, she did. She had a terrible start. She was found as a stray, and it later was found out that she was kept in a shed in the dark and used for breeding. And luckily for her, she had escaped. and we took her in as a stray, but she was absolutely terrified.
And you couldn't make eye contact at first, could you?
No, the staff had to walk in backwards to her kennel, because if you looked at her, she would literally hit the walls. There was no aggravation, no violence with her, but no aggression. But she was absolutely terrified. But she was adopted by one of our volunteers, Shirley. And as you say, she ended up living with 2 other Rottweilers and a cat.
It's, these puppy farms and illegal breeders or people who don't do it properly, they often put down, don't they, less than perfect dogs.
Yes.
But you've managed to rescue some puppies.
But yes, my current dog, Paxton, he's a basset hound. He's blind. He was born blind. He's just 3 years old now. And I actually saw him on the internet. He was advertised on the Many Tears Rescue website. Don't look on it because it's...
I know.
Oh, it's yes. Yeah. And he was going to be put down because he was blind. So I adopted him, and he's been one of the easiest dogs I've ever had. He's absolutely fabulous.
Let's talk about cats, if we may. Again, they get a lot of bad press because people can't understand. At least with the dog, he needs you. But you came across an old folks' home for cats, didn't you?
Yes, many years ago, yes. I was in Bristol taking a dog to another rescue centre that specialised in deaf dogs. And while I was there, I was just wandering around the site and came across this building right in sort of the middle of the field, but there were baskets everywhere and chairs, and it just looked, I couldn't make it out. It was almost like a little house, like a little Wendy house. And when I went inside, there were just cats everywhere on every surface, on cushions, all snuggled up together. And it was as you say, for an oldies pensioners.
So whose was it? Whose little home was it? Just a couple's.
No, it was actually a rescue centre.
Oh, it was? Oh, right.
And that's where I got the idea from. So when I came back to our own rescue centre, I created this, we had a cattery, but so we took down the walls and just had it an open cattery for all the old cats.
Oh,
and pussy pensioners, we called them.
You've even rescued rats.
Oh, yes, lots of rats, yes. People do dump rats, I'm afraid. Can't understand why. They make lovely pets.
Oh, don't.
They do.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. And a van load of guinea pigs you got hold of
Oh,
once.
yes, that's right. The police turned up in a van. We wonder what on earth was happening, and they came in, these 2 burly police officers, and they had a van load of guinea pigs for us. Somebody had been taken into custody and was given a prison sentence, and he had these guinea pigs at home and asked if we could take them in and rehome them.
Good Lord.
But when we opened the boxes, there were 2 big cardboard boxes. All the guinea pigs were in together. There must have been about 40 guinea pigs, all on top of each other.
So a lot of pregnant ones?
Oh, yes, lots of babies.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's amazing that what people abandon. I mean, they even abandon chickens.
Yes, ducks. We had many ducks over the years. Chickens. We took in a lot of chickens from a farm where they were badly treated. I mean, they said, I said in the book, they looked oven ready, to be honest.
Yeah.
They hardly had a feather on them.
Dreadful.
But they all recovered.
I know, my friend's taken a lot of chickens in, and they fluff up pretty quickly and very friendly.
Yes.
Just pat them as you walk along. Lovely things.
Yes, they're
But
lovely.
a bullock.
Yes, that's
How
right.
can how can somebody get rid of a bullock?
Well, he was born to a Jersey cow locally, and the people just couldn't keep 2 cows, so we took him in, William. He was lovely. Yes, he actually played football. He really did. He had this talent of kicking a football around the field.
Right. This is not like your imaginary horse, is it?
No, okay. Honestly. There's a photo of him in the book.
Yes,
so.
Lovely. We all laughed, those of us who saw the Vicar of Dibley, when they had when she wanted to do the first pet service, and it was lovely in the Vicar. But you have been involved with many pet services over the years, haven't you?
Yes, many. Yes. Starting at Thurrowcross in Torquay, they still have them there regularly, and Oedipal Pen. We used to have the church service in a field, and people would come along with their pets. It was lovely. And one year actually in the field were 3 bullocks that just stood and watched all the comings and goings. Many services in the church at in Totnes, and just all sorts of animals were there. Dogs, cats, rabbits. One year we had a chicken came along, very brave chicken.
Lovely. So what have you got now at home?
At home I've got 2 dogs. I've got Paxton, my Basset Hound, and Skye. She's a French Mastiff. And 3 tortoises.
Do you think that that there are enough regulations in place? Do you think that the penalties are stiff enough when it comes to animals that are abandoned or when you find the owners, and cruelty?
It's so difficult. I mean, the RSPCA do a good job.
Yeah, but the hands are tied very often, aren't they?
Yes, that's right. And if they hand out a punishment, like in the case of Sheba, the German Shepherd we took in, their owner was banned from keeping a dog for 10 years. But who's going to police that? It's very, very difficult.
Very awful.
Yeah, so there's, as you say, is not adequate.
And if we think it's bad over here, I mean, there were stories in all the national papers this week of 500 dogs that were destined for the dinner table in China, and they were thankfully intercepted and rescued. But it goes on, doesn't it? Every day there are stories of cruelty in the paper. I don't know what's happening to people that they take it out.
I think really at the end of the day, you can't help everyone, all the animals in the world. So you've just got to concentrate, hopefully, on your local charity. That's the best way to do it. And help the animals that you can. Yeah.
Well, it's a lovely story, heartwarming story. It's called Pawprints Through My Life by Christine Paradine. And where can we get hold of it? It's published by Memoirs Publishing.
Yes, it's available on their website at the moment. So it's only been launched this week, so it's sort of early days. It's available from my website. I've got my own website, which is christineparadine.com. So it's easy to remember. It will be available to be ordered through Smiths and other leading
books.
Yes, leading bookstores.
Lovely. Christine, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your stories. Thank you.